You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your host with a seemingly endless supply of terrible opinions. And with me, as always, is my business partner,
Rocco,
who has to suffer through all of my terrible opinions. And yet, even that pain doesn't prevent me from making him suffer more because I make him listen to the engineering joke of the week. All right, Rocco, you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right. What is a programmer's favorite beverage?
I don't know. What is it?
They like Java. Huh? Yeah, really bad. And yet, I love it. Oh, all right. Let's get into the show today.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. I look for the worst ones I can find. All right, folks. So there is a word out there that you guys may be familiar with, and it is called McDonaldization. And it's the process of turning things into generic, repeatable, familiar commodities in the pursuit of perceived efficiency. And as you'd expect, right, it is pulled from the McDonald's restaurant chain and the way that they restructured the entire restaurant business by replicating the exact same size, shape, even the flavor of all of their food items at every single location throughout the whole world. And you know, this concept has been adopted by nearly every major corporation on the planet and even a ton of our cultural processes out there in order to make things better, faster, more efficient, and predictable. And on paper, that sounds good, right? You know, predictable, unchanging processes should yield predictable, unchanging results. And you know, accountants love that type of thinking, right? And they've used it to take over a huge chunk of modern society. The problem is that it removes any capacity for growth and improvement, right? You know, if A plus B equals C and A and B never change, C is always going to give you the exact same result. And look, I'm not going to go into the ills that I think that type of thinking brings to our society today because, you know, there's a limited amount of time on the podcast here and I could go for hours. And Rocco doesn't want to hear it again. He listens to it all the time. Yep. But I do want to touch base on how that type of thinking can kill business growth and strangle the design build industry. It is a particular problem in the AEC software and technology space, and it is being driven by a marketing concept that, you know, out of the box software is the most efficient way to work. You know, it requires less training and there's less potential for error, and it keeps your staff more billable because they're never even really going to notice when a new update has occurred, right? And all that sounds great, right? The thing is, that also means nothing can improve. Employees are going to get bored and leave, and your profits will always stay static, right? None of that, however, ever gets mentioned in the sales and marketing literature. So Rocco, what kind of feedback do you get from clients kind of in regard to using off-the-shelf, untouched software, right? Do they see that as a good thing, or do they think it's insufficient to their business needs?
Well, initially, I mean, they buy the software, they're sold the software and told that it can do X, Y, Z and what you're looking for, but then you open it up and it's, you know, now it's like, okay, well, where do I start? And that's where the frustration starts. Because it's like, it's not, all right, this is this really for me, or is this for, you know, how do I make it for me? Where do I even start? How do I make this thing work? And that's part of why we do what we do here at Zentech, right? To help people become more productive, because out of the box, it don't work.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And look, I think, it is to the benefit of software developers, especially the SaaS, right? The software as a service systems that, you pay a subscription for. If you just keep using what they give you exactly as they give it to you, right? It means less work and more profit for them. And they're going to try to convince you that it means the same thing for you, but that just is not true. And kind of what I want to get into here today, it's a concept that I call intelligent configuration, right? And it's the idea that any software system that you implement in your company is just a starting point, right? It's going to get you maybe 50% of the functionality that you need when it comes right out of the box, but it needs work to get it doing the specific things that your firm needs it to do. And that's the part that salespeople never want to talk about because they know that your management is thinking in terms of McDonaldization, right? They don't want to hear that we have to buy a software system and then we have to spend more time and more money configuring it to our needs. They want the Happy Meal version of that product, right? The one that comes out fully prepared with everything you need for a low cost fixed fee. The problem is while that, yes, it works well for a hamburger, it is going to fail miserably in a design build setting. Right? And those of you guys who are tuning in who are, senior management, or if you own your own firm, I think you guys really need to listen carefully here today. You need to move your company away from that type of thinking and embrace, intelligent configuration for all your systems if you are going to have any hope of growing and competing in the modern construction arena. So, Rocco, with all the customers that we do all the consulting and configuration jobs for, how many of them kind of come to us frustrated by software that just flat out can't do what they were told it would be able to do right off the shelf?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. We did a podcast, I guess time flies, maybe a couple months ago, and you kind of asked the similar question. And, it's funny because sometimes people come to us, I don't want to say when it's too late, but I guess when they're about to jump off the cliff because they're like, they're so frustrated at what they were promised and what they were trying to do. And now it's like, can you save me? And well, we can save you, but you got to slow down and calm down and take 50 steps back, because we need to understand what it is that you do and why you're looking to get there, and give you options. And, so that's kind of what we see happen here, what I see happen, more often than not. Okay.
All right. So let's get into this then a little bit, right? So what exactly is this concept of intelligent configuration? And what it really boils down to is taking the software that you already have, right? And configuring it, using its built-in features and its built-in functions so that it performs the way that you need it to perform, instead of retraining your people to work completely differently to follow, the developers out of the box software workflows. Now, I do want to stress, I want you all to notice that I'm using I'm not using the word customization here. That is an entirely different concept. And I do think that as an industry, we tend to confuse or conflate configuration and customization. Customization is a risky, potentially destructive, and really expensive act. It means building tools from the ground up that are specific to your needs. And, if you're not an expert at isolating and identifying your processes in terms of algorithms and then coding those out quickly and effectively, it can actually bury your company, right? The truth is this, right? By the time that most of us manage to figure out what it is we really need and lay it all out and build the algorithms and start getting code and processes put together, usually technology has already passed that process by. And there is a whole new methodology coming out that makes everything we're customizing completely irrelevant. You don't believe me? Ask anybody who's ever been in the military, right? Take a look at any government or military-based software system that is still running on 15-plus-year-old operating systems and that are essentially useless in the modern world. And you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about and where the concerns lie in with full-blown customization. Configuring software, right, with your own tools and your own processes is a much better option. It's going to allow you to increase efficiency, reduce workload in the short term, while staying on the most current and active technologies so that you're always going to be competitive in this industry. Okay, and that's what we're going to focus on. So I tell you what, let's take a break to get a commercial in here. And when we get back, I'm going to give you guys some practical examples of what I mean here with some common software systems that everybody out there listening is using. All right, so stand by. We will be back in just a few minutes with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Hey guys, it's Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants, and we want to talk to you guys about our managed contact or construction technology services that we offer here at Zentech. Look, we're all working with a million different software systems. We're all trying to integrate them and get them to communicate and collaborate and work together. And you know what? The answer isn't always more software. That usually just brings more headaches. What we try to do is work with you as your managed construction technology service provider to help you integrate and develop all the software systems and workflow processes that you need using the software that you already have. We can help you guys with your project management, estimating, ERP systems, just about any workflow that you have to help it all work together and get your folks working the way you need them to. So let's start that conversation. So Rocco, how do people reach out to us and get the ball rolling with our contact services?
Yeah, hit up our website, zentechconsultants.net. If you go under the services section, you'll be able to see those services listed there. You could always give us a call, 866-824-4459, or drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
There you go. All the construction technology management help that you need but have not been able to find or afford is just a single phone call away with Managed Contact Services by Zentech Consultants. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. We're talking about the concept of intelligent configuration today and not just accepting the out-of-the-box settings, features, and functions of the software that we use every day, right? Instead of that, we want to use the built-in tools and features of that software to simplify and automate our work, right? Adjusting that software to how we work instead of the other way around. And in this half of the show, I want to talk about a few common software systems in the design build space and the types of configurations that you can perform in them that we've literally seen companies use to reduce costs and streamline their workflows by double or more of where they start out. So I tell you, let's follow the design path first, right? Since that's where most of our jobs start, we'll start there. And if we're in the design space, we're talking about CAD and BIM software systems. And it doesn't really matter which one you're using. They all have some basic functionalities that you can configure to drastically improve your efficiencies, right? I mean, something as simple as tool palettes, well configured, can literally change the way that your design staff works on a daily basis. And for those of you who don't know, right, a tool palette, it's a collection of predefined tools and symbols and annotations that are structured into kind of an intelligent directory format that are accessed from a floating selection palette, hence the name, that just sits on the side of the user screen, right? It's as simple as can be, but I am always shocked at how few companies actively use these tool palettes to configure their work, right? They opt instead to, you're either using like decades old file and folder structures that the company put together in the 90s, or they just shift their people to using whatever predefined tools that the CAD, BIM system you're working in gives you, right? And you have to adjust to that. Look, just think about any tool or symbol that your designers might need, right? And you can put that onto a palette under a concise name where it comes in at the right size for your drawing scale. It comes in on the correct layer with the correct settings, and even with the ability to pull data, right? Like the make, the model, the manufacturer, anything else that you need, either pre-built into it or even tied to other components within that drawing, right? Now, take a minute and imagine if they have a full library of those tools that encompassed almost everything that you focus on and design as a company, right? And you can begin to see, even with just that brief description, how big of an efficiency and cost saving a tool palette in a CAD BIM environment can provide, right? So, Rocco, in terms of our design clients, right, how many of them come to us looking for help configuring their CAD and BIM systems because the standard out of the box tools is just failing them?
Yeah, it happens pretty often, and it's across for everything from architecture to construction to civil. All right, I mean, we do a lot with the Autodesk products, with Bricks CAD products, so it's part of our what we do every day.
Yeah. No, it's very common. Like I said, I'm always surprised at how few people go down this configuration route, which is why I want to talk about it today. So let's move on to a construction example of intelligent configuration using a markup or an estimating system like Bluebeam Review, right? Look, Bluebeam is a really powerful and very easy to use system right out of the gate, right? But most people out there never think of configuring it to their own needs, right? And they often look at it and see it as it's just like another PDF reader, right? Like Adobe, or it's just some simple markup tool. And it can be so much more than that if you take the time to configure it properly for your company's needs, right? Things like tool sets and custom column data in Bluebeam are a perfect example of that, right? We can configure standard symbols, lines, tools, etc., whatever you need into named profiles, right? For different types of users, along with named tool sets that kind of organize those configured tools into logical combinations. I tell you what, think of it like this, right? Think of it like, it's a room full of those, those big, bright, red, shiny Sears toolboxes that we all want. Each box that we have is for a specific type of tool, right? Automotive in that box, and wood in this box, and metalwork in that box, and so on. And every single drawer in that tool set holds similar tools, right? This one's for hammers, this one's for wrenches, and so on. And that's kind of how you build review tools in exactly that same way, right? So they're easy to find and use. But beyond structuring them that way, we can begin adding intelligent metadata to every tool in our box. So imagine that, they go in, they grab a tool, they drop the symbol onto their plan, right? That counts out, hey, how many switches are there on in this entire project? How much does each switch cost? How much time is needed to install that switch, right? And then I can also include things like, hey, there are links on the switches that when you click on it, it takes you right to the ordering website or the cut sheet or to anything else you want, right? How about if you're doing RFIs or punch keys that are pre-linked to whatever tracking system or whatever PDF form you need people to fill out and put details in about them, or go right into your ERP system if it ties directly into a Procore RFI, right? These tools in a system like Bluebeam can be configured to link and do just about anything that you can imagine, as long as you're taking the time to structure and configure them properly to your specific needs. So Rocky, tell folks, how much work do we do in the Bluebeam configuration space, and what kind of results do the clients usually see from that?
Oh, it's probably a third of our of our business here, and talk to folks and work with them all the time. And Bluebeam is, like we say, it's a great tool. It's very affordable. It's easy to work with, and the the linking, the integration with Excel is huge, and just the ability to tell people that, hey, you're not making drastic changes to your workflows here. We'll configure Bluebeam to work for you is big, and I think that's why one of the reasons why Bluebeam seems to do so well. It's affordability, and it's ease of use, and its configurability.
Yeah, no doubt. So I tell you, all right, the last example that I'll give out here, is a basic Microsoft tool, right? And it's one that literally everybody out there uses, Microsoft Project, right? It is the world's leading project scheduling tool that almost nobody ever bothers to configure for their own needs, right? Almost every single client that we engage with who uses Project, and honestly, that's pretty much everybody. We all use it at some level. They just struggle through the out of the box layouts, right? And they get just enough information from the project program to make it usable. Right? Nobody ever likes Microsoft Project, right? We have to use it. That's the big thing. We've just got to deal with it. And the reason why nobody likes it is because you haven't configured it for your needs, right? And look, what if I just told you guys something as simple as a Microsoft Project template, predefined with all of your standard light items, right? The cost for those, right? The general resources who are going to be assigned, whether it's the plumbing contractor or whatever other trade. Just one simple template could save you days, sometimes even weeks of work on every single one of your jobs, right? And to take that a step further, right? What if we configured that same template and we added in data fields, right, that are configured to collect the information that is specific to your work processes, already built into the template. Things like, employee IDs and employee names and addresses and cost codes, or nearly anything else that you can imagine, right, so that it's already there and in place for you, right? And what if we could even take those configured items, right, and tie them directly to the Gantt chart and the schedule line items themselves, so that they automatically adjust cost, tell you when people are available, give you, the percentage complete on every line item automatically, right? To get you a more accurate schedule and a more accurate budget with minimal work. All of that is possible. And it's exactly the type of thing we mean when we talk about intelligent configuration, right? The great thing about configuring this way is that regardless of the software, right? When there are updates or patches or new releases and so on of whatever system you're working in, when that happens, your configurations are still going to be there for everyday use. And, if the software comes out and there are these great new processes that got added that make sense for you to use, you can just configure those to work the same way, exactly the same processes. You don't lose the old configurations. You get to add in the new ones as they come out, right? And a little bit of planning and effort put towards configuration can help you avoid the slow death of McDonaldization and make your company much more efficient. And it's going to put you far ahead of your competitors who are listening to the marketing lies and kind of marching in lockstep with the developers, SaaS party line, right? Thinking that we're all chasing efficiency together while you are actually marching toward the edge of a cliff that's going to drive your company out of business. So with that cheery and happy thought, we'll get out of here and we'll catch you next time.
I'm going to have a French fry.
Now you want French fries?
Yeah.
No French fries for you.
How mean?
All right, folks. I got to go get Rocco French fries. But we'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.